Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the American Sports Connection. I am Mike, your host. Today, we're going to be discussing the show tonight of WWE Roadblock with predictions and different things, what we expect or what could possibly happen. With I think it's about 3 weeks from tomorrow is WrestleMania, so we're going to see what direction they're going to go, on this event. So bear with me for 1 minute. I'm going to bring a friend of mine in, and we're going to discuss this. So bear with me.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
You're crystal clear.
Okay. How are you doing?
Not bad. I caved in and took a sleeping pill last night, so I'm good.
Okay. Well, since you've been out of the loop with what's going on, I'll inform you. Tonight they're having, it's called WWE Roadblock,
Right.
which is like a special they're having on the network, which is about, I believe it's 3 weeks from tomorrow is WrestleMania. So it's like kind of, I guess, an in-between to kind of set things up for whatever they're going to do long-term, within the next 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
I just had the card in front of me and I lost it. Okay, here it is. As of right now, there's only 5 matches that are scheduled. So I don't know. I'm actually not sure how long they're going to go, if it's going to be like 2 hours, 3 hours. Someone just put in the chat, it's a glorified house show in Toronto.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
The card as of right now is your buddy, Brock Lesnar. He's fighting Bray Wyatt.
Right.
That should be fun to see if they're going to actually have Brock Lesnar not, murder him.
Yeah. Well, they've been doing a lot of hijinks for people to find ways to beat Lesnar lately, it seems like. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's, but he hasn't been pinned or beaten clean in, I think, 2 years or over 2 years.
Well, to me, that's only appropriate. I really think Vince should be really pushing him as sort of like this indestructible Superman, and that would really set up for some drama when he would finally get beat.
I do agree. I agree with that.
Hopefully, legitimately. Hope in some way somebody will find a way to actually beat him with something that at least remotely resembles a legitimate wrestling move, as opposed to some bizarre something falling from the ceiling and hitting him on the head or something.
Here's something interesting. Someone put in the chat, they said the way they understand it, that Lesnar and Wyatt are supposed to be fighting after WrestleMania, and Lesnar is supposed to be losing to him.
Losing today?
To Bray Wyatt. In the future.
Oh, in the future. Well, I mean, that could be very intriguing. And what with Wyatt's resume, you have to wonder, what kind of stuff is he going to say or do to get into Lesnar's head, if anything.
That's why, I mean, nothing against Ambrose. I think that's cool that they gave him that spot against Lesnar, but I really wanted to see Lesnar and Wyatt go at it just because it would have been something different for Lesnar.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Where it would have, you could have seen if they played more mind games with him and those types of things.
See, I think that's kind of important that be scripted in at some point, because Lesnar kind of approaches the ring like this guy who doesn't have a care in the world, who knows he's going to win, isn't intimidated by anybody or anything. So that'd be an interesting challenge to see how they might go about getting inside of his head a little bit.
Yeah, well, like the image I sent you, because you didn't get to see the Rumble, of him absolutely annihilating Braun Strowman.
Right.
I think he legitimately got angry with him and just clotheslined him.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
I could understand that. Maybe he was just tired of the match or something.
Yeah, well, tonight I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but Lesnar's going to win. I don't know if he's going to win with somebody interfering, or maybe Ambrose interferes and makes him lose. And there's all kind of different ways they could go. I mean, I've been reading. This is within the last, since I just got home, right. Within the last 20 minutes, that there's rumors that Sting could appear and that him and Wyatt might go at it in 3 weeks. So that could be interesting, too, in itself.
That's kind of interesting. There's a documentary out about Sting, by the way.
Is there really?
Yeah, I think right now it's being run by one of the premium networks. Maybe I saw it on demand. I don't know if it was on Showtime or what, but it's floating around. Maybe you could find it online or something.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Looks like, I mean, when I say new, I don't know if it's brand new, but I'm assuming it must have come out in the last couple years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, now the other matches we have is your favorite woman. It's a Divas, I hate saying that word, Divas title match.
Okay.
Against, with Charlotte, the champion, against Natalya, who is, you would remember her as Jim Neidhart's daughter.
Right, okay.
That should be at least entertaining.
Yeah, they're both pretty solid. So
yeah, I think they don't give Natty enough time on television, because she's really good at what she does.
Well,
and Charlotte, she's been playing, a good heel with her dad, but it's just. I don't know what it is. Like, 1 minute I think she's all right looking, and then the next minute I'm like, oh my God, she looks too much like her dad.
I don't like her looks that much. I always, used to joke that, whenever I meet a woman and I'm on the fence as to her attractiveness, I want to meet her dad, because if she looks too much like her dad, I'm out. But yeah, I agree with you. I was trying to like her on the few occasions that I watched her, and I really, in my humble opinion, it kind of seems like the dad connection is carrying her a little bit. She really doesn't have a lot of, to me anyway, charisma or, just anything that kind of draws me in, and it's like she should at least have enough of that sort of negative charisma, where you want her to get her ass kicked.
I agree with you. That's the problem I've always had with her, was they've always tried to hang that Ric Flair to, I'm Ric Flair's daughter to her wagon, as opposed to letting her just, be herself.
Just let her get out there and be a wrestler, and also develop her own sort of personality, whatever that's going to be. It's like, and it's sad to say this, every time she comes out, 20 seconds into the match, I'm like, where's her dad? Where's her dad?
I know what you mean, and it's sad because she's a very good athlete, and it's just, I always thought that they should let her just kind of sink or swim on her own. For Christ's sake, her character's name is after the city that Ric Flair says that he's from.
Is that right?
Yeah, from Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where they gave her name.
Oh well, I guess their intentions are pretty much obvious right from the roots of the thing. Then
Yeah, that's why I kind of feel bad, because it's like, I don't want to trash on her because, like I said, she's talented with what she does.
right. Well, when I'm trashing what I see from her, I don't feel like I'm necessarily trashing her personally. I feel like I'm trashing the presentation.
Yeah, creatively.
Yeah, you're trashing the package, and as we all know, the wrestlers are not responsible for their presentation or package. We know who's pulling the puppet strings on that. So
Yeah, like one of the people in the chat here just wrote, the problem with her is she's always going to be handcuffed to Rick no matter what she tries, because creative won't allow it, as long as Vince runs the show.
that's exactly the point that I was sort of circling there, is that there's we say she's not doing this or that and that. Frankly, I don't know that anything would matter as long as they've got her inexorably connected to Rick. I don't know that there's much that she could do.
Right, and then the other thing that they wrote was for the love of God, give her a better finisher than the figure 8 that she has, which is basically the figure 4, and she like bridges up.
Right. Yeah, that would probably help. The fact that it's always the figure 8 is probably indicative of exactly what we're talking about. They're not really interested in taking stock in her finishing move. It's just going to push the I'm female Ric Flair Jr. Speaking of finishing moves, I wanted to bring up a sort of a question to you.
Okay.
Because I'm a big Lesnar fan, and I'm always hoping Vince will just turn him loose and just let him rip people in half. But my question is, as a guy who is a legitimate wrestler and also was a very legitimate MMA guy, obviously he would have in real life a great resume of moves and abilities. Does it seem to you like in wrestling they're giving him, he kind of has a very limited repertoire?
I feel that way.
Especially like especially when it's time to close the deal. You know what's coming, and as much as I love his signature move, it's like after seeing it 8 or 9 times in a row, it's like, okay, we get it. He's capable of elevating the guy and slamming him, and that must really hurt. But it's not exactly popcorn chomping material. It's not really fascinating.
No, I know what you mean, where it's just like he's going to suplex a guy and maybe like kick him in the face, or I get exactly what you mean. It was, if he could make it more interesting, I guess you would say.
And then forgive me for not knowing the names of these moves, but then he'll get the guy up against the turnbuckle and like cram his shoulder into the guy's chest 10 or 11 times.
Yeah.
There's really not. I'm just shocked that they don't show more of what he's just going. Oh my God, he's physically capable of probably throwing the guy 30 feet into the seats. I mean, we don't want to see that, but there's a lot that he could do just from a tactical standpoint. I would like to see them show more of that.
I agree with you, where it's like they've kind of pigeonholed him.
Yeah, they've got him locked into 2 or 3 moves and the seething and the grinning and but I think one way to really to build him would be to have him bust out, maybe every week, a couple of weeks, and have him bust out another move and be like, whoa, we never saw that from the Beast before, and I think it would add to his sort of, myth as this Incredible Hulk type of guy.
Yeah, because they have that to a certain extent, but like someone in here just put in the chat, they said that they believe he lacks a believable, submission move.
Right. I could go along with that, and we all know it's not because he can't do it.
No, it's because they don't let him.
Yeah, so I mean, I know there may be safety concerns because, like what you and I discussed before, it wouldn't take much for him to really debilitate an opponent or permanently injure them.
I think that's the other reason is because I think he does not realize how fucking strong he really is. I had mentioned this to you before. You won't know the guy by his name, Jamie Noble. He picked him up, and this guy's, I'll say my build, 5'9", 200 plus pounds. And he picked him up like he was a fucking rag doll and, threw him into the barricade. And I think he broke his ribs and punctured his lung, if I'm correct.
Dear God.
Well, so it's there's like a fine line with him.
Yeah, well, then what probably is also happening is a lot of politicking from potential opponents saying, "Hey, look, I'll get in the ring with this guy, but he's not allowed to do this. He can't do that. Here's the 2 moves I'll allow," and blah blah blah. So even potential opponents are probably pitching a lot of restrictions.
That's very possible.
Yeah, just for their own. Because I mean, I think everybody there would know he is capable of ending careers.
What he did, I went back and rewatched it. What he did to Ambrose in that triple threat match, some of those throws that he gave him outside where he landed on his head, you're like, oh my God.
It really makes you wonder. That was the one with him and Roman?
Yeah, where you just like cringe because you're like, oh my God, the way he lands, you're afraid he's going to break their damn neck.
Very possible. The funny thing about Dean is that he just looks so unwrestler-like in his physique,
Yeah.
and the way he dresses. Although he is kind of well built when he exposes the arms and stuff. But when he comes out there and those jeans and that T-shirt, it's just like, okay, some schlub just came out of the seats to take on Brock Lesnar.
Well, and it's crazy because years ago, I don't remember how many years it's been, but he was in one of the most violent promotions based out of Philly, Combat Zone Wrestling, where he was getting hit with like light tubes and all kind of like crazy shit. So he's used to it.
He's probably developed some very good endurance
or a tolerance to it. Maybe
right.
I don't know.
Tolerance for pain and able to take a beating and keep going. I like Ambrose, but I kind of know what you mean. The way that Lesnar throws guys around, you're sitting there saying, man, if that guy doesn't land just perfectly, or if that doesn't go just perfectly, there's serious chance he could get injured.
Here's another comment. This is true. I forgot about this. They wrote, let's not forget about the way Undertaker's head bounced like a basketball after being given Brock's finishing move when they fought.
Yeah, that's true. It did kind of like... you catapult up off the canvas like an underripe melon.
Well, and he's a big guy to begin with, so he's not used to being up there.
And he's not, I'll tell you one thing, he's not used to being thrown around the way he was in that match.
No, because the dude's like 7 foot tall, 300 plus pounds. There's not many guys that are going to throw him around like that.
Even with the resume that he's got, you're right. Just there are not many guys out there with the physical ability to even do that to him.
No, he's just a freakish athlete.
Uh-huh.
All right. Let's move on here. The WWE Tag Team titles are up for grabs tonight with the New Day defending against the League of Nations, which will be Sheamus and King Barrett.
Never so much have I wished for 2 opponents to just kill each other in the ring.
You mean all 4 guys?
It's just all of them, just like land some kind of bizarre quad punch to the neck and just... I just, you know how I feel about New Day. I'm not going to hijack your show with that.
No. Well, what's funny is there's someone else I know that's in here in the chat that can't stand them either. So you're not alone.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. I have to give New Day the edge on being the most annoying. So if Sheamus and the King wanted to get a hold of that trombone and cram it somewhere where it barely fits, I'd probably love to see it.
And then with your buddy that likes to play it, he's so melodramatic, but he does it in a funny way.
He does do it in a way that I have to say it's. I won't call it funny because I find him so annoying, but it does kind of make you react to it. You know, it's not just like, what is this crap? It's either like, wow, this guy's over the top, or wow, this guy's an ass. You know, he gets a reaction.
Well, I'll tell you this, and you're going to cringe when I tell you this, because I haven't told you this. The latest rumors I had read for WrestleMania was that, I don't know if it's going to happen, they said it's 50-50, that New Day was going to come out riding unicorns around the stadium.
I'll be keeping cyanide tablets by the TV set. Yeah, well, they're riding their gimmick high right now. I can't blame them.
No, you got to ride the wave.
Yeah, and they seem to have, for whatever reason I'm unable to personally figure out, they seem to have a pretty solid fan base.
Yeah, they're getting ready to actually turn them into, I hate to use the term good guys and bad guys, but they're getting ready to turn them into good guys.
Really? Huh. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's because, from what I've understood, they're selling a lot of merchandise. Like they're really making a lot of money.
That raises a question to me. You know, they seem to be pretty high up in Vince's hierarchy at this point in his favor. So yes. Why Sheamus and King Barrett? I mean, isn't that kind of a crap match for them?
Yeah, I think it's. I would say more so to just get them. How do I word this? To turn that, like they're kind of like a heel right now, to kind of slowly turn them the other way.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because the League of Nations isn't doing a goddamn thing.
I don't know. You and I had watched a match recently in which I don't remember who he was fighting, but you and I kind of looked at each other and said, "Well, this is about as low as King Barrett can go with just being dropped from the program completely."
I think it was when he wrestled R-Truth.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then Sheamus, I've noticed that they've tried to do a few things to kind of propel him, maybe testing the waters to see if, I don't know what his popularity is, but to me, it's like just no matter how hard they try, it's just not going anywhere.
Well, someone just wrote in here, and I forgot about this. King Barrett is actually leaving the WWE when his contract expires in June.
Oh, well, wow, that all suddenly makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, like there's this person just wrote in the chat, they're just kind of throwing shit up against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, he's been matched and been performing like a guy who's got one foot out the door. So
well, it's interesting because he's rumored to be going into the MMA world.
Wow.
Because I had forgotten about this until I Wikipedia'd his bio. Before he ever became a wrestler, he was a bare knuckle fighter.
Oh wow!
Huh. In England.
Holy crap!
So I said, "Well, shit! Anybody that does that is fucking tough."
Yeah, I mean that might be a good transformation for him.
Well, the thing that's weird, and Chris, who's in the chat, will agree with me. WWE now, what they do is, I don't know if they do it with everyone that leaves, but they have like a clause in their contracts when they release them that they can't join UFC or anything to do with MMA for 1 year.
Oh.
I don't know if that's just for big guys, big name guys like Sam Punk and when Alberto Del Rio left, or if it's everybody now. I really don't know how they do that. But yeah, if that's true, that makes me laugh because Vince will come out and directly say, "Oh, we're not competing with UFC. We don't see them as a competitor."
Yeah, we're just not going to let our guys wrestle with them for 1 year in hopes that they die beforehand.
Yeah, die of irrelevance.
Yeah.
So I think New Day is going to win tonight just because they're so popular. I just cannot see them taking the belts off them anytime soon.
Not to those two guys.
Yeah, you got a point there. If they're going to lose it, it's not going to be to them.
Yeah, I doubt. You say New Day's doing good from a marketing standpoint.
Yes.
I'm not imagining that Sheamus is selling a lot of posters with a cross on his ass.
That's a good one.
I think that the outcome is, if ever an outcome of a match was predestined, I would say that's definitely it.
Yeah, well, because from what I understand, those unicorn horns have been sold out or back ordered at least 2 or 3 times.
Who are these people? That's my question to response to that is who? Who's doing this?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know. I know a couple people that have bought them, but I don't know if I could do that.
Are they big fans? I guess that's a dumb question. So they're big fans of them.
Yes.
What have you talked at length to anybody who really is a big fan of theirs, and gotten an idea what they feel their appeal is?
That they're just over the top funny.
That they're funny and that they're kind of just anything goes. That whole louder, bigger.
Yeah.
No limits. We're going to yell louder. We're going to make all kinds of crazy noises and.
You will find this amusing. Chris in the chat wrote, women who are looking for cheap dildos are buying those damn unicorn horns.
That's a possibility.
I find them amusing for the simple fact of it's so ridiculous to see Big E, which is the biggest one of the group,
right.
Gyrating and dancing the way he does. It's just so absurd.
I will say when he dances, it's really funny. It reminds me of a famous play in an Eagles game. I think they're playing the Cardinals when Byron Evans returned an interception for a touchdown. He was dancing in the end zone, and it was like one butt cheek was going west and the other butt cheek was going east. It was ridiculous. and yeah, when that guy gets going, it really is. I will confess that.
Because it's just so ridiculous.
It is, and I think that I think that the loudmouth with the trombone. I think he's got a future, even maybe just as like a handler or a manager who's going to stand along the ropes and do and say all kinds of ridiculous stuff.
Well, because the thing is, he's actually a wrestler.
Yeah. That's interesting because I always kind of see him as like maybe like another Bobby the Brain one day or something
Well, his expressions and his sell it.
His expressions and when he yells and screams, the noises that come out of his mouth.
Yes.
It's like there's no filter. It's like he's walking through a living nightmare and just screaming out. Everything he's experiencing. There's no limits with the guy, and I give him credit for that.
Right. Well, they must really see something in them because when Rocky came back, within the last few weeks. I'd say like 3-4 weeks, might have been a little more. They had him do something with them.
Right. Huh. Well, it'd be interesting to see, where they go with them, because even if they are highly entertaining to a lot of people, I have to say, as an honest criticism, I could see that whole shtick getting kind of old.
Absolutely.
I think, and so if they see something in them, I'm curious to see. Wow, well, what's that going to be? They're going to make them good guys now, so. Where's that going to go? Maybe.
I'm hoping they kind of like toe the line where they're not necessarily good, but they're not necessarily bad. They're kind of like that in between.
Yes, the neutral party that just kind of does what they feel like doing at the moment.
Yeah, because I don't know if it could translate as well as it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're honestly, when you come to talking about them being a heel or a good guy, I mean, they're kind of middle of the road with that. I mean, they can be very annoying, but I don't know that they are like really threatening enough to be good heels. And honestly, I don't know if they can be unannoying enough to be effective good guys.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think they're just going to have to find a sort of a gray area for them to let them float around and, kind of have that element of mystery. Like, well, how are they going to handle this? What are they going to do here? Are they going to take the good guy road, or are they going to be asses?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's probably, I would say, the best thing you could do with them.
Okay, and the last match is going to be your buddy, Dean Ambrose, going up against Triple H for the WWE Heavyweight Championship.
Wow. And what does your gut tell you about that match?
I would love to see him win the title.
Uh-huh.
But I just cannot see it happening.
Huh. Because of who he's going against?
No. I think it's just more so that they're set in this Roman Reigns is the future, no matter what, and we're going to make it work.
Okay.
Which I think is stupid, because if you have a guy that is supposed to be getting cheered and he's getting booed out of the fucking building, then something's wrong.
Yeah, if anything, I mean, turn him into a heel,
No, that's the best thing they could do.
I think that would be brilliant, and just give him a little bit more, of a nasty edge to him. He's already sort of has a douchey personality as a wrestler. I think you just make him a little bit more sinister or a little bit nastier, and you got yourself a heel for a lifetime.
Oh, God, I think that's the perfect way to get him over as a bad guy first, and then you can flip him back.
That's what I was going to say, too. Later on, if he's effective in that role, later on, you could do anything you want with him once he's established.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just like they're force-feeding this, you know what I mean?
Yes. They really are.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened, because I don't know if I told you this story. Uh-huh. It's probably been, Chris could tell me, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks, but anyway, Triple H came out in the middle of one of his matches, and came out and beat the ever-living snot out of him.
Really?
And the fans cheered the entire time he did it.
Of course.
Like, he literally bashed his head into the announcer's table like a dozen times.
Christ.
And, like, every time he did it, the fans were like, yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
And, like, they were just, cheering him the whole time. And I'm just like, wow, they have, like, a major problem. And what's interesting is, I don't know, I'm assuming it wasn't from that attack, but Roman had to get surgery on his nose because he had a deviated septum.
Uh-oh.
So they've kept him off television the last few weeks.
Uh-huh.
which I think is to protect him, to be honest with you, because the last few weeks they were in really tough towns like Chicago and different things like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And it's not going to get any easier because I don't know if they're in Brooklyn this week, but I definitely know they're in Philly the following week, so they're not going to give him any love there.
Nah, it's not going to get any. It's not going to get any easier.
So it's just I don't really know what they're going to do, because everything I've been reading is that they want to give him this big moment where he wins and, have all the confetti come down and all this stuff. He's going to get booed the fuck out of the building.
It's just obstinate on McMahon's part. If he goes through with something like that, then
he's being stubborn.
Yeah, that's all it is. He's being stubborn, and he's not, making a read of the audiences and fans' reactions at all. He's basically taking a crap on that, which is...
Yeah, well, because it's ridiculous, because Ambrose, ever since Reigns went out 2 weeks ago, right. Ambrose has had to, basically pick up the ball and carry this for him until he comes back.
Right.
Which is not fair to him, because you're trying to make him look like a guy that could actually win the title, and it's like it's like a big middle finger to everyone, because you're going to build him up, and they're like, nah, never mind.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're setting him up, and the sad irony is that the fans love him.
Yeah, and it's like they're gonna feed him right to Triple H and then to Reigns, eventually.
Yeah, they're really being very deliberate in how they're setting up Ambrose, and it's kind of funny, because I don't know if he's smart enough to even care about it, but McMahon is kind of seeing, as he builds Ambrose up, he's kind of seeing what he would like to be happening with the build up of Roman.
Yes.
It's kind of like a mirror image, but he's going to set Ambrose up and keep chopping him down. Then he's going to bring Roman up, and it's going to be this big, like you say, trumpets blowing from heaven and confetti and everything. And meanwhile, a guy like Ambrose that could really handle, getting to the top and holding it with the fans, he's going to get the rug pulled out from under him.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah, but we've learned not to expect anything less.
Well, I didn't get to tell you this because I haven't talked to you about what happened this past week.
Right.
They had the main event last week on Raw was Ambrose against Wyatt.
Okay.
Well, eventually the Clan came down and beat the snot out of him.
Gotcha.
And Triple H comes down to the ring, and Bray Wyatt and Triple H have a stare down.
Okay.
And the crowd starts going nuts. They go like, yes, yes, yes. And Wyatt does his usual demeanor where he's laughing maniacally.
Right.
And he looks at the title, and he starts smiling, and he starts caressing the title with his hand.
Okay.
And then he just kind of does that and creepy laughs and then walks away.
Oh, great.
So I was like, well, that's interesting. Maybe that's kind of some foreshadowing of what's going to happen down the road.
Yeah, you would like to think so, because Wyatt, to me, I know you're a big fan of his spiel. Well, Wyatt, to me, is another guy that has been tinkered with and had a...
Oh, they've misused him so badly.
Yeah, I agree. That guy's been running around with a carrot dangling under his nose for so long.
Yeah, and it's like, the thing that annoys me about him, not him per se, but how they, build him, is he'll randomly attack someone, explain why he did it, build up the match that you want to see that could be interesting, and then they just have him lose.
It's the same thing over and over.
That's what I mean. It's it's the same thing. He'll, like he did with Roman, he attacked Roman, and then he had that feud with him for months and lost. And it's and same thing with the Undertaker. I mean, even though it was only one match, but
right.
One-on-one, but he carried that entire feud. The Undertaker was never even fucking on television for months. He just showed up for the match.
Isn't that something?
I mean, he had to carry it all by himself. So it's like you said, it's he always gets his legs chopped out from under him.
And I don't know, why they keep doing that with guys that are so compelling. It's like, why is he doing that with these guys that have these really, really sharp personalities and really can kind of get the fans, emotionally invested in the matches? It almost seems like a spiteful thing. Like, oh yeah, you think you're charismatic? I'll show you.
Yeah, and it's silly because I always said, and it's not just because I'm a fan of his, that Wyatt has probably one of the more interesting personalities and characters they've had in a long, long time.
I would agree with that.
Probably, him and Ambrose, they're different.
Oh, they're very different, but I think they share a quality related to what you said, which is that they're both very unique. They're both very they're both very anti, that fictional establishment that the league has. So, and that's going to bring in a lot of fans. That's going to attract a lot of fans. The fact that they're not tools of McMahon or of the system,
or as I like to call them, big steroid guys.
Right? Yeah, they're not like Mr. Pinhead and all those guys. I mean, they've got some real depth of character, and they're kind of interesting, and they go out there, and you don't say, oh, here comes Bray Wyatt. We all know what he does. I mean, you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what Ambrose is going to do because they're both so, anarchic, and it's fun. And in this day and age, that's appealing to a lot of people. But McMahon apparently prefers to keep those guys down, low on the totem pole for some reason.
Here's some news that Chris here put in the chat. He said that he was, and I did read this too, I forgot to bring it up, that Vince doesn't look upon the NXT wrestlers, which is what we call developmental, or they call developmental, excuse me. Right. He doesn't look at them as stars for the main roster, which is just stupid.
Yeah, well, that really is ridiculous, I have to tell you, dude.
Yeah, well, and what I read is he doesn't see them as guys that can quote unquote make money.
How can I couldn't disagree more. I really think Vince has lost touch with the fans.
Absolutely.
Not to overstate the obvious, but he's turning into the Al Davis of professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's crazy, and now with his son back, it makes things even more of interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
You see, I haven't talked to you with all the shit you've had going on. Shane came back, his son. That's probably, it was 2 weeks ago as well, or 3, somewhere in there. And he is wrestling at WrestleMania against The Undertaker.
Oh.
And if he wins, then he gains control of the company.
Oh, I see.
So that should be interesting just for the pure fact Shane does all kind of crazy shit.
Yeah, that should be pretty cool.
And plus, he hasn't been back in like 7 or 8 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a while.
Well, he was running all kind of like businesses in like China and like some kind of on-demand service they have over there.
Oh, okay. Well, that sort of brings around another point that, and I'm not saying that it applies in Shane's case, but is another thing is that Vince doesn't seem to be able to let go of a lot of the old heads.
No.
And you know, I think it's cool. I mean, I think it's nice to bring back a guy once in a while, especially a guy like The Undertaker who really had a lot of panache, you know. Guys like that, bring them back, have them do some matches. Yeah, it gets people fired up. But then it turns into a sausage grinder. You know, like where they bring this guy back, and the next thing you know, he's in match after match after match, and you really start to see the limitations of their age, you know?
Right, I know what you mean. Just bring him back as an attraction.
Yeah, bring them back. I mean, you know, give them some love. You know, hopefully pay them because they obviously didn't get paid fairly back during their heyday. And, you know, do that. But then, you know, get this infusion of new blood going.
Absolutely.
You know? The personality of a wrestler that's going to be popular now is not the same personality that would have been popular in 1996.
No, and the other problem is Vince doesn't understand is their audience now is most how do I word this? Is mostly the hardcore audience that is going to watch it every week. Even if they do something they don't like, they're going to bitch and moan about it on, to other people or on social media now. But they're still going to tune in next week.
Absolutely.
And he's thinking, well, we need to get the casual viewer. Well, I understand that, but I don't care for this guy, Dave Meltzer, who does the Wrestling Observer, who's one of the big dirt sheet guys. He said it himself. The casual fan is not going to sit and watch 3 hours of programming on Monday nights.
Bottom line.
It's just not going to happen.
Bottom line.
You know, once they get turned off by it, they're turning it off and they're not turning it back.
That's correct.
I mean, if it wasn't for sometimes going in, chat rooms with friends and stuff, I'd probably fall the hell asleep.
We've watched a few of those together, and the remote gets very busy at some point. I actually remember us switching away from one of those shows to watch part of a Sixers game. I think that speaks for itself.
That, and it was I think it was the college football playoff, the final, I think it was that night.
Right.
Or the opening game or something like that.
Correct.
Because I remember it was an Ohio State game.
Oh yeah, it was some. It was some.
It was all. Now I remember vividly what it was. It was Ohio State and Virginia Tech.
Was that when they kicked their butts? Really?
I believe so. Yeah, remember it was like compelling for the first half, and then after that it just kind of.
Ohio State destroyed somebody. I can't remember who now, but we got like disgruntled and yeah.
Well, see, Vince should be trying to put out a better product now because he doesn't have Monday Night Football to worry about till September.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because once Monday Night Football comes back, they're getting crushed by them.
That's a given, and nothing Vince McMahon does is ever going to change that. I don't think.
Shit, I mean, when my team's on, I'm watching it, and they're like, "Weren't you watching Raw?" I'm like, "No."
Hell no.
I'll flip it maybe at halftime, but
during commercials.
Yeah, it's a mess because it's just like this big. How do I word this? This like feud with. I shouldn't say feud, but they're always arguing Triple H and Vince where. He thinks, things should be a certain way, but Vince thinks things should be a different way.
Exactly.
He's just, like you said, he's just out of touch. But he's never going to quit. He's going to die in that damn, backstage seat.
I agree with you 100%. He's too narcissistic to walk away.
No, never. And I will say this though. I don't know if you've seen him recently, but he like really is starting to look his age.
Yeah, I did see a couple pictures.
And I'm just like, wow. I mean, I don't know if his health isn't well, but he just looks like a lot thinner.
I mean, yeah, it could be what you say, or it just could be, it's just age catching up with you. That it happens suddenly sometimes.
Well, because he's been going so hard for all those years. You figure it's going to catch up with him sooner or later.
So it has to. I mean, there's just no way it doesn't. I can't see that.
Because he's in his 70s now.
Is he really? Okay.
And what he's done now, I don't know if Shane is staying full-time, like as an executive.
Right.
But they said if he does what he's been doing, Shane and Triple H and Stephanie, they all don't get along backstage.
Right.
So he's been playing Shane against them, so everyone's always on edge.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, Shane thinks this is better or whatever.
Right. Huh.
Just to kind of stick it in their craw and kind of twist the knife a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of nice to hear.
Would you expect any less?
No.
Because apparently before he came back, those are rumors as I say this. That's the reason Shane left in the first place, was because apparently Triple H and Stephanie were already going to be given the keys to the kingdom when everything was said and done.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So now he's come back, but I don't know if if this is just a one-time deal or if he's coming back full-time. So things could get really messy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Well, and he's kind of, on television, when he spoke, he's kind of, when they cut promos, he said a lot of things that were very truthful that was just like, ouch.
Really?
That since Triple H and Stephanie have taken over, the ratings are in the toilet, and all these guys have been getting hurt, and all these types of things.
Wow. That's pretty forthright, man.
and I'm trying to remember exactly how he worded it on Monday, but it was like guys that work their ass off. And he was probably alluding to Ambrose, guys that work their ass off and, don't get anywhere, and guys that barely do anything get everywhere, or something along those lines.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, wow, this is interesting. I'm surprised they're going here.
Yeah. Not that it's going to change anything, but at least people are willing to speak out about it.
Yeah, I'm really hoping it's not that they're just throwing people the proverbial carrot to be like, oh, maybe, and then be like, no. You know what I mean? Like, get people all excited and think there's actually going to be change, and then when the time comes, Shane loses his match, and it's like, no, more of the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's just another, he's so good at yanking chains, and that's, unfortunately, is just another case of doing that. Because behind all our hopes and dreams, we know he's not gonna give up the throne.
Oh God, no! He's gonna die in what they call gorilla position.
Yeah.
Where which in layman's terms for people that aren't smart marks, it's where Vince has a headset on in the back and basically tells the announcers what he wants them to say.
Beautiful.
So that's where I figure you'll find his corpse.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, somebody in the trailer will probably be like, Vince, and then they'll run back there and he'll be like,
all right, dude. Well, I'm going to get off of here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to like it and subscribe, and we'll be back hopefully tomorrow to have a review of what happened tonight. And I'll see you guys next time.
Take care, everybody.
All right, take care.